Sure, bro. Gladly. The Gospel of Thomas is a mid second century document or writing, you know what I'm saying, that was always understood to be a Gnostic forgery. And it wasn't the only one. There were a few quote unquote gospels floating around under the name of an apostle, but it wasn't from an apostle. During the late first century, all through the second century and the third century, the early Christians were writing against Gnostics. And there were a bunch of different varieties of them. You know what I'm saying? There were a couple of main schools, you know what I'm saying, of thought between them, but like, people knew about them, you know what I'm saying? And the Christians wrote against them extensively. And we know for a fact that at no time in Christian history had they ever been accepted or received as canonical. They have always been heretical. In chapter 24 or 25 of Eusebius's third book of ecclesiastical history, he says this. He says, but we have nevertheless felt compelled to give a catalog of these also, distinguishing those works, which according to the ecclesiastical tradition are true and genuine and commonly accepted, from those others which, although not canonical but disputed, are yet at the same time known to the most ecclesiastical writers. We have felt compelled to give this catalog in order that we might be able to know both these works and those that are cited by the heretics under the name of the apostles. He continues on saying, including, for instance, such books as the Gospels of Peter, of Thomas, Matthias, or of any others besides them, and the Acts of Andrew and John and the other apostles, which no one belonging to the succession of ecclesiastical writers has deemed worthy of mention in his writings. Eusebius is writing this in the 4th century, middle of the 4th century. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't all that long ago from him, or I should say from his time. So that's the first thing that's wrong. Secondly, it was a common practice for people to, you know what I'm saying, say that their writing or their book or whatever was from some other author. You know what I'm saying? As a way of giving it credibility, giving it weight. It was like forgeries were actually commonplace during this time period. Not saying it's right, but that's just a fact. Next, when you actually read it, what it is 114 sayings of Jesus. And you can tell that, yeah, the author stole from things that Jesus actually said in the Gospels, but then he goes off into all types of weird, esoteric, like plainly Gnostic explanations as to what he said. Things that Jesus never would have said, or taking it in the context that Jesus would have never taken it into. You know what I'm saying? For instance, check this out. This is the very last saying, 114. Simon Peter says to them, let Mary go out from our midst, for women are not worthy of life. Jesus says, see, I will draw her so as to make her a male, so that she also may become a living spirit like you males. For every woman who has become male will enter the kingdom of heaven. What? Bruh, what? Are we really gonna say something like that belongs in the canon of scripture? I mean, let's just say it was in the Bible and was taken out. I'm sure on that saying alone, you can see why it would have been taken out, because it's not what Jesus said. Jesus would have never said anything crazy like that, or Simon Peter. Check this one out. This is the third saying. Jesus says, if those who seek to attract you say to you, see, the kingdom is in heaven, then the birds of heaven will be there before you. If they say to you, it is in the sea, then the fish will be there before you. But the kingdom is within you, and it is outside of you. What? When you know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will know that it is you who are the sons of the living Father. But if you do not know yourselves, then you will be in a state of poverty, and it is you. You will be the poverty. See, this is Gnostic. You know what I'm saying? This is not gospel. This is not what Jesus taught. This ain't what this isn't corroborated by the apostles. Nobody. This is not Christian theology. You dig? Here's one more for you, saying 70. Jesus said, if you have gained this within you, what you have will save you. If you do not have this within you, what you do not have in you will kill you. What is this? This is all esoteric language, bro. Like this is not how Jesus spoke. This ain't how the apostles spoke. This is clearly something from the mid second century. It has never been accepted by the apostles, by the early church. It was never a part of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? It was never accepted as canon. Yeah, it may have floated around, but like, so what? Like, of course, the enemies of the church would be producing documents and writings of their own and circulating those. Of course, they'd be doing that. That's not surprising. You know what I'm saying? So we can't say just because these documents existed early on that they must be true or they must have been a part of it. No, they were always heretical documents. They were always recognized to be forgeries. So I hope this answers your question, man.